Hello there, this is Satya Maikan. So we'll see how to create this little piece I created to demo Plexus. Now this piece has two basic parts. It has two spheres interacting and form this kind of like this reaction to each other. And later on there's this text reveal in which the particles in the inner sphere gradually reveal to become a text. We'll focus on the text reveal first, and later on we'll see the first two spheres reacting to each other later on. So here we have a new comp in After Effects. Let me create a text layer and call it Plexus, or anything you want. Increase the size, and let me make sure it's in the center. Okay, now can go ahead and apply Rewrite Plexus. Now by default you don't see anything because you don't have any object in the effect control window. The way Plexus works is you have objects and you have effectors. Objects create some kind of particles or points based on text or paths or lights or anything, or OBJ files or anything. Whereas the effectors, they change the properties of those points or particles, like color or position or stuff like that. Now I'm not going to go too much in detail also with Plexus since there are many other introductory tutorials for you to get started with, and this I'll focus more on how to create the effect. So let me go create a new path object, and as you can see, as soon as you add a path object, you see it already creates the particles and the lines that join them. Now make sure if you don't see anything here, make sure you have this turned on, get paths from text, because if you don't, it doesn't get any paths from text and you don't see any points here. So make sure you have it here. Now as you can see, you can control the points on each path. The more you have, the more dense it looks. The less you have, the more the less number of points you actually have per each path here. So that's how it works. Now you can add any kind of effector. Let me go add a noise effector. Noise effector basically adds noise to the point. So the bigger noise you have, noise amplitude you have, the more separated, the more amount of noise is applied to each point. So let's keep that in mind right now. Let me put it back to 0. Actually, let me put it back to like 200 or something. That should be enough. Now let me add an effector called container. As you can see, as soon as you add an effector, it goes down to the bottom of the stack here. Now we should always make sure that Plexus, the effect Plexus always stays in the bottom, so that all the changes are properly cached here. Now container and container effector is something that locks everything in a container. You have two types of containers, a cube and a sphere. So let's apply the sphere container, and you can increase the radius just a little bit. And if you want, you can change the location too, but let me just put it back to the center right now. So you have the container, and now let's now you can what I did in that video is I had the text moving around the composition. You can actually change the anchor point of this text, but a better way of doing this is to transform the Plexus. And if you add a new effector called transform effector, it creates a new effect called transform, which creates a transform. So you can translate it along Y, or you can translate it as X or anything. Now if you can see this, everything is moving right now, including, the transform is happening after the noise is applied, after the container is applied, and then the transform is applied. So to change that, move this transform higher, and if you move it, it gets locked down in the container. It's like the effectors are applied in the order of the effect stack here. First of all, path object is created, so that all these points are created, and then noise is applied, and then the transform. You can translate it, I mean you can offset it, or you can rotate it wherever you want, stuff like that, and then the container is applied. The order in which this happens is important, because if you move the container back to the top and then noise is applied and then the container is applied, now when you move around it doesn't get locked in the container anymore, because the container is actually applied before the transform happens. So to avoid that, put back the container. Let me reset this. Okay, this is what you have right now. Alright, now we have a Plexus here. The path, just for temporarily, let's put the noise back to 0. So you see a single layer with Plexus. Now let's decrease the points on each mask all the way back to somewhere around like 30 or something, because we don't want it to be too dense, because it looks like a solid layer if it's too dense. And let's replicate it at least by 6 times and decrease the extrude depth all the way to 60. That should do it. You can have a camera if you want. Plexus is a camera mirror, but since we'll be working mostly in a single shot, I'm not adding a camera right now. Alright, that's we got a basic Plexus layer here. Now all I did is it's pretty simple actually. Let me increase the noise. So you already have like a cool looking spherical structure, which is actually text, but it was when you add noise and apply containers, it looks like a spherical globe of something. And all I did was actually animate the X translate back and forth, so it kind of looks like it's moving around the globe, but in fact it's the container makes it looks like it's moving around the globe, but the text is actually moving in X and Y directions, and I just animated it to and fro. And back again. I can add, I can make it look more organic if you want, but I'm just gonna show you how I did it really quick. Let me RAM preview it. We have RAM preview here. It looks pretty cool. It actually moves from left to right in the sphere. Now I just animated in X direction, but you can actually animate in both Y and Z to make it more convincing. For example, let's make it come from here and go to the top. Then it's here. Put it back. So let's see how it looks. So this is how the effect looks right now. It's still a bit rough. You can make it. You can work on the finer movements if you want to make it more smooth. But I'm just gonna go really quick to show how it's done. Okay, we have a basic movement here. Now all we got to do is animate the noise back to 0, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, here's noise amplitude, and when it comes to say about that point, let's decrease it to 250, actually 200. And when it goes back to, let's put to like 20. Let's see how it looks. Alright, so here we have a basic movement. Looks pretty cool. It still needs more work, but I'm just gonna go really quick and show you the process. So this is how the text reveal is done. You can have more particles. Let me have more particles here. So looks more like there's more to the sphere. It's a little bit jerky here because of the screen capture, but it's pretty smooth right now. So right now, that's the text reveal. We'll work on the sphere interaction in a little bit. Now let's see how to do the sphere animation at the beginning. To do that, let me I already have a new count. Let me create a new solid. Let me apply a mask. Give me a funny shape, but I like the star shape. So, alright, we got a star shape. No, all I did is actually copy all of these. Copy all these effectors and apply it to this. So you already have like a gobbling sphere to start with. Now all you gotta do is tweak this thing so that you don't actually. Sorry, my bad. Let's copy here. Yeah. So you gotta tweak this FX a little bit so you don't end up with the same kind of transition. So all I did was actually add a new noise effector, and this time I used lights to control the noise. So how do you use lights to control the noise? With Plexus, you can create a new light. Let's call it noise. Or you can call it anything. You can use any light, but by default, the effector name begins with noise, but you can use any name if you want. Okay, so if you're using lights, only particles or points or particles that are around this light are influenced. You can control the radius using the intensity. That means the more intensity you have, the bigger the radius of the effector is, and you can control the amplitude here. See, right now, like only these points are affected, but now when you decrease the radius, only a fewer points will be affected. Much fewer points will be affected. So this is what it did, but what I actually did was put this up above the sphere. So what happens is when the particles, when they reach the center of the sphere, they're actually displaced by the noise effector. So it kind of looks more like really some kind of organic displacement here, but it's just actually a simple noise effector. Now in the beginning, let's just move it here. Let's animate the amplitude here. Let's put this to 0, and when it comes to the center, let's crank it all the way up to 250 or more. And when it gets here, and then kind of starts to get back, let's put it back to say 100. So it's like a jolt, and it just goes back to like its normal phase. The trick is all like in the keyframes here. So the more detail you spend, the more detail you get into keyframes, the more fluid motion you actually get. Now this is how the initial like jolt like thing is created. Because the noise effector goes off of a certain and then it comes back to its initial state. Now you can add more effectors. For example, add a spherical field which creates a field around that point, and I don't want that high. And let me move this to the side so it only influences when when the particles come to that point. So that's how this effect is actually created. But unlike text, you don't want the noise to go like all down at the end. You want the noise to be still happening, so it doesn't come to like its initial shape. So to remove that, let me go to the noise effector. The noise effector is here. Instead of being at 7, let me put it back to like 50 or like 100. Let's put like 100. So it's still, you can still see noise being applied to the point. So this is the basis for creating the sphere. The trick is all in making the animation more dynamic, using the effectors and using the lights and stuff. Let me RAM preview real quick. So this is how the RAM preview looks. It might be a little jerky because of the screen capture, but essentially looks fluid enough. You can spend more time refining the keyframes, but let's just go with this one right now. So we have 2 here. Let's comp it together. Let me drag this to the thing. Let me drag the comp 2 too. Now for the comp 2, let's flip it using X. So they actually look like they're coming from the opposite ways. So kind of have a more interesting interaction between them. And let me create a background solid. Call it BG solid. Put it in the background. And apply a ramp. Let's make it radial. And put this in the center. And change the colors. I always like the not canvas, it's a brown paper kind of theme, which I usually find it in newspapers for drawing. Yeah, that looks nice. And apply tint. You can change the color and all in Plexus, but we're just comping here, so I'm just gonna apply a tint and change the color to brown to mimic charcoal, and the same for the same effect too. And let me add an adjustment layer and apply glow. Oops, that's a lot. Actually, never mind. Let's apply glow to individual layers. Yeah, that looks much better. So kind of get like a shadowish look, and so it doesn't look completely flat. So let me ramp here right now. So this looks like in the end. You can refine a little bit more to make it more dense and stuff. But this is the basic steps to create such an effect. And I did not go into Plexus in detail because I kind of wanted to make it short and explain how this effect is created. But if you want to know how Plexus works and learn more about the basics, please do watch my other tutorials on the website, on the product page of Plexus, where you can find the introductory stuff. So that's it for today, and thanks again for watching, and hope you guys learn from it and have a great day.